What's up, everybody? I'm Mckenty. This is my second channel, and this is your home for my Twitch highlights and my podcast. So if you like this and you want to see more of that and you want to join the live streams, there's a link to that in the description of this video. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. Metalcore. I have talked a lot of shit about metalcore over the past month or two or a year or two, whatever. Talked a lot of shit about it because it has become kind of stale and generic in a lot of ways. I've half jokingly talked about all the Architects core bands, all the bands that basically their song is some genty Architects inspired new metal riff with a Linkin Park chorus. They're genting in a colored room, and how sick I am of that shit, which I am sick of. And I think other people are starting to get sick of it too. That kind of metalcore, the reason I don't like it is because it's like metalcore without the metal. Metalcore without the heaviness. It's just like, it's like butt rock, really. And that's disappointing to me. Like, there's some of that's okay, but did we forget the metal and core part of metalcore? Like, what is metalcore if there's no metal and there's no core? It's just butt rock. And what I'm happy to see is that there's some bands or existing artists that have been around for a while who maybe went a little bit more towards the butt rock kind of sound, who are coming back and doing some heavy stuff, or new bands that are doing heavy stuff. And I just wanted to share some of that stuff and kind of talk about where I think some of these artists are going to go. So the first example of this to me is the new Wage War song, which I think is fucking awesome. This song came out a couple weeks ago. I'll just say it. I know they probably hate me, but I'll just say it. They would be one of the best examples of Architects core, in my opinion. Low is just super blatant Architects, and I kind of expected them to just go in that direction forever, to just keep playing butt rock, but they're back with this song, which is fucking awesome. It's a little Slipknotty, but it's heavy as fuck. It's good. A little Architectsy, but it's heavy. See, I'm not opposed to a little genting. From the chat here, the intro is too long. All intros are too long. How many times do I have to say this? Intros should not exist. In a post-TikTok world where all of us have the attention span of a gnat, intros should not exist. Lil Pump showed us the way. You just get into the goddamn hook. Don't bore us, get to the chorus. I'm Slipknotty. Genting in a fiery room, at least, is progress. I would be willing to bet, this is produced by Jeremy McKinnon. I would be willing to bet that Jeremy wrote that hook, because that sounds like a Jeremy kind of hook to me. But either way, the song is fucking awesome. I'm excited to see that Wage War is not just butt rock, that they've got some heavy songs too. So happy to see that, and I hope to see more from Wage War along these lines. Another band that I am liking is Darko US. Apparently there's some other band called Darko. I heard this and I thought, oh, I didn't know people still made shit like this. Very Amir. There we go. Are we gonna die 7 days after watching this? This does feel like The Ring. Actually, what this reminds me of is the trailer for some like knockoff of The Ring that's essentially the same premise, but, you know, slightly tweaked, that went straight to VHS in 2001. So I think this is pretty cool. I don't know if this is like an actual band or if this is a side project, but either way, I mean, I will listen to shit like this all day long. I do think that if they took this more seriously and they worked with a producer like Drew Folk or someone like that that could help them turn these into like actual accessible, catchy songs, I think they could have some real potential here, because they definitely have the sound. I think it's just a side project and they probably don't really care if it ever gets popular, but I think it's cool. Here's kind of a random band called Dying Wish. I don't know too much about them, but I thought it was kind of cool. Sharp Tone is a cool label. I really like what they're doing. I've talked to those guys a few times. This comment here I really liked a lot. If it was 2009, this song and video would be on a random PSP from a pawn shop with cool metalcore screamo songs. It was my first. Reminds me of like Walls of Jericho or something. This is very like Ozfest 2004 to me, and I mean that in the best possible way. So again, I don't think this is going to like set the world on fire. This is not going to be like the next big thing necessarily, but at least it's not genting in a colored room. At least this is not Diet, Architects, and Linkin Park. At least this has like some energy to it, you know? That's what I'm looking for from metalcore, is bands that feel like there's emotion, like it's not just some stale calculated song that they thought was going to get them on Sirius XM Octane. That's the shit I'm tired of. If that's what people want to do, more power to them. That's cool, I guess, but I'm sick of it. It just feels so phoned in and calculated to me. I don't think this is like the world's best band, but at least it feels raw and sincere to me, and that's what I'm looking for right now. The Zombie 2 EP is another good example of this. The Devil Wears Prada, I have been honest about the fact that I did not love their last couple albums. I thought they were a little bit kind of what I would say just self-indulgent and dull to me, to be perfectly honest. I respect that they did it because, you know, at the end of the day, it's their career. They should do what makes them happy and whatever they want to do. But I think what a lot of these bands are realizing, just like Wage War and Of Mice and Men, who we're going to listen to later, is like people want you to just do the thing. And this is the same for my videos. You know, people want me to talk about older guitar music. They don't want me to talk about business. They don't want me to talk about Demi Lovato. Don't want me to talk about rap. They want me to talk about older guitar music. And I feel like I'm kind of doing the same thing as these bands are. Like you see my last couple videos, Linkin Park, Avril Lavigne, my next one's about Slipknot. I'm just going to go back to the basics and give people what they want. And, you know, hopefully that will make everybody happy. And I'm not upset about it. And I feel like that's the same thing that a lot of these metalcore bands are doing. All right, we tried the radio thing. People keep telling us they want us to make metalcore again. Let's just make some fucking metalcore. You know, we got all the experimentation out of our system. Let's just do it. So I think that the Devil Wears Prada are a great example of that. The Zombie EP, when did that come out? 2011? I don't remember. I think a lot of people would say that that's their best material. And they came back with the Zombie EP 2 a couple months ago, and it was fucking great. This is great. Catchy, but heavy, fun. I mean, they've just proven with this, they've still got it. Anybody that thought they lost their touch and they couldn't make cool metalcore anymore was wrong. This is what people wanted from them. It's catchy, but it's heavy. They're not trying to be genty. I'm so fucking tired of the gent sound. Like, it was cool 10 years ago. Like, I get the appeal of it, but it's been fucking done. It's like T-Pain said, we already have that shit. Give us some other shit.
Do some different music. We have all the shit that you're doing. Do something else. Holy shit.
I feel like T-Pain when people send me this genty butt rock shit. Like, it was cool, but it's been done. Can we get back to the basics? Can we make something that feels like fun again? That's what I liked a lot about so much of the MySpace metalcore. It felt fun. And this does too. Like, that's like a cool, like, fun, I don't know how other to say it. It's a fun riff. From what I have seen, everybody is loving this. I think it's cool that they, you know, were able to go back to their roots and prove to everybody that they can still do it. Another band who did this recently is Of Mice and Men. So they went heavy again a while ago. After Austin left, Aaron Riley became like the main driving force of the band, obviously vocally, but he writes a lot of the songs. So he's a very talented musician. They went back to playing heavy stuff again. I talked to them about this and they basically said exactly that. Like, hey, we did the radio rock thing and that was cool, but let's just fucking play metalcore again because we love metalcore. And the shit is good. I would say that it's their best stuff to date, like by far. It sounds like they're having a lot of fun playing it. It doesn't sound like old Of Mice and Men necessarily, but I wouldn't want it to anyway. And I really like what they're doing here. Tino's drumming is underrated. He's really good. You know, when Aaron does these kind of parts, you could say that they're butt rocky, I guess, but he can actually sing. There's just something that comes through. You can tell that he actually has something to say, and that there's something in his brain. A lot of these metalcore bands, I feel like they're just doing a clean chorus because that's what you're supposed to do to get an octane, but I feel like they don't really... There's nothing behind it. They're just doing it because they're supposed to. And when Aaron does these, it sounds so much just more authentic to me. And Aaron is just so much better at everything than Austin that it's not even funny. I'm excited to see what the future holds for Mice and Men. I think it's really cool that they've kind of gone back to the roots again after trying some stuff, and I think they're very good at it. Next band I wanted to talk about, Kublai Khan. I guess they had to change the name to Kublai Khan TX. Some good shit. You know, I guess a lot of people would consider this band maybe hardcore. I would consider them like hardcore adjacent metalcore, and they're great. Again, I don't think these guys are going to be the next big thing or whatever, but they don't have to be. A lot of people think that I'm obsessed with like mainstream success, and I think that something doesn't matter unless it's mainstream. That's not true. It is important for some artists to be successful in the mainstream in order for a genre to be relevant, but I don't think everyone has to be. A lot of my favorite artists are the ones that never play more than 500 cap venues. It's not that I am obsessed with that. I just think that we need to have some artists in the mainstream. Kublai Khan is never going to be one of those artists, but I do think that they're fucking awesome. I would like to see them go out with a band like Wage War. You know, there's the metalcore, the sort of, you know, octane metalcore sort of side of things, and then there's the more like hardcore metalcore side of things on the same tour. To me, that would be like the ideal combo. That's what I think Wage War, or that's where I think Kublai Khan fits. The new Memphis May Fire stuff, I think, is also solid. I've talked a lot of shit about Memphis May Fire, but the honest truth is that their early stuff is really good. I think they kind of went butt rock and sort of lost their way a little bit. But again, it feels like a lot of these older bands from that like 2010 to 2012 kind of era are sort of finding the fire again and coming back with good shit. And I think this is an example of that.
My mind is racing, everything's changing. All these voices telling me that I should embrace it. No, lost in the hourglass, flipped upside down. I fight the feeling that's been growing underneath.
This sounds like Trapped. Here's the thing. Memphis May Fire is generic metalcore, generic 2013 metalcore. And I want that. They do that generic 2013 metalcore sound maybe better than just about anybody else. We need that. There's a place for everything in this world. Sometimes you want a gourmet meal, sometimes you want McDonald's, you know, and when you want McDonald's, you want it. So I would say that's Memphis May Fire. Are they going to set a new bar for like creativity in metalcore? No. But that's okay. We don't need them to. We just need them to put out some like banger 2013 metalcore songs sometimes. And I think they do it really well. Matty Mullen's voice, I think, is really good for that. It's poppy and it's accessible and catchy without going like full Linkin Park, which I appreciate. I mean, Linkin Park's a great band, but again, like T-Pain said, we already have Linkin Park. We don't need another one.
We have it already. You don't have to do that music anymore.
So I'm stoked to see this. I think they're a good band. And from what I have seen, I don't remember what he said exactly, but it seems like Matty has kind of grown a bit as a human, as you would expect. So that's cool to see too. Here's a band. I don't know too much about this band. It's a band called 1056 that kind of, again, has that sort of a mirror. This is not a huge band, I don't think, but has that kind of a mirror vibe. Why does every goddamn metalcore band do this now? They have like this movie title sequence type thing in all their videos. Is this because Post Malone did this 2 years ago or something? Like, we do not need to do this. This sounds pissed. This is like pissed Amir. Yeah, Amir is pissed Amir, but you know, yeah. Like, they're not trying to be fucking gent. They're not trying to be clean and pretty. This is nasty and shitty and like filthy and raw, and it sounds like they're actually pissed. That's what's missing from all this goddamn gentcore stuff. It doesn't sound like they feel anything about anything. It feels like they're professionals. You know what I mean? Like someone gave them the assignment of making an octane core song, and so they did it. And that might be what happened, that maybe a producer wrote it for them. And if so, that's fine. You know, I'm not faulting them for doing whatever they want to do. But for me personally, as a fan, it's fucking lame. It feels sterile and boring. I want it to sound like the people in the band care, like they feel something. And if it's metalcore, it should be pissed. It is metal plus core. So I'm happy to see bands like this bringing back that pissed off, fucked up Amir Glass Cloud kind of sound, which I really love because it's very groovy. Architects sounds passionate. I agree. Architects are legit. I have nothing bad to say about Architects at all, and I never have. I just don't like all the fucking bands that rip off Architects. This is the music that plays when you take PCP and start feeling strong. My dad told me about taking PCP once. He said it was like super strong acid. This is sick. I love this part. Whenever a band has a 3-piece drum set, I feel the exact opposite about 3-piece drum sets as I do about hollow body guitars. Like if a band has a 3-piece, it's like, okay, these guys are probably not fucking around. This is probably going to be cool. Another band I wanted to mention is Omerta. I've talked about them before. This band is awesome because they are fucking pissed. How pissed is this? Sounds furious. Yes, it sounds like Slipknot, but more pissed, like hardcore Slipknot. These guys are going to do cool things. They are going out with Ghostmane, I think, and they have been talking to Ross Robinson, famous nu metal producer. So a lot of people are noticing this band as being something different and cool. I think that, you know, you put them together with Ghostmane and Ross Robinson and some cool shit's gonna happen. Last thing that I think I wanted to play as an example of cool nu metalcore, a little bit more on the octane core side of things, I suppose, is this song Contraband by Make Them Suffer featuring Courtney from Spirit Box. Definitely more octane core than my tastes usually are, but I think they do it well. Vocals are good. Again, what I think sets this apart is that the vocals actually sound pissed. That's the main thing that I'm missing from so much metalcore is like, it just don't sound like they're pissed off. Like they sound relaxed or sound like they're, you know, again, like they're a hired professional. It's like, here, just sing this. All right, man. Actually, can you scream it? Yeah, no problem. I can scream. But I don't feel like they are, the band should feel like they are screaming these words because they mean it so much, because they have to say this stuff, not because they're sort of doing their job. And that's what I think sets this song apart. Musically, it's fairly standard octane core, but the vocals actually sounds pissed. And I like that that riff is more like thrash inspired than Architects inspired. It does have like the string skipping and open strings and stuff, but it sounds more thrash and less prog, and I think that's cool. I actually like this part too. Even though it's obviously very octane. I prefer the heavy part, but it's cool, it's well done. Courtney's great, as always. She's one of the best in the game. This is a little bit old, I guess, but I wanted to play this last song as an example of a band that's been around for a long time, but is bringing the heat. Misery Signals. I actually don't like this band very much, but this song is fucking great. I'm going to skip the first minute or so because it's boring. And again, the common denominator is this vocalist sounds pissed. This sounds like Turmoil. Cool drum sound too, very natural. Anyway, so the point of all this is to say that there are still signs of life in metalcore. Yes, there is still way too much Architects octane core out there, and I could probably go the rest of my life without ever hearing more of that shit. More power to the bands if that's what they want to do. If they're happy playing it and it's getting them this, you know, the kind of financial success that they want and they enjoy it, that's what's important. It doesn't really matter what I think. I genuinely support any band that wants to do that, but I personally am sick of it, and I think other people are getting tired of it too. I think people are ready for metalcore to be heavy again, to be pissed off again, ready for it to not be this like safe, sterile, fucking octane friendly bullshit that it's been for the past 5 years. And I do see some signs of that happening. I hope that I'm right. I hope to see more of it. I really especially like this kind of new AmeriCore kind of sound that these bands like 1056 and Darko US are doing. I would love to hear more of that. I'm a sucker for that. So yeah, Metalcore seems to be, you know, in a relatively good place. And as someone who's been a fan of the genre for, you know, pretty much my whole life, I'm here for it. Happy to see it.